And those who are going to testify today on the various reports and the various licenses, if you'd stand and raise your right hand. If you go, I state your name. Representing what organization? Do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth with respect to the testimony I'm going to provide today to the Indiana Horse Racing Commission. So help me God. You do. Thank you. All right, we got all that out of the way. So next on the agenda is consideration approval of the Horseshoe Indianapolis permit renewal application, and also consideration of the approval and renewal of Horseshoe Indianapolis Satellite Facility in Clarksville for the 2025 year. So, David, you want to start us off, and then we'll go.
Yes, so commissioners, since each of the agenda items needs motion and vote, I'd suggest a motion and vote following presentation of an agenda item just in general. For this particular one, a separate motion and vote following this agenda item, and I recommend a motion for approval of the permit renewal request, satellite facility request, and the proposed race calendars, which were previously approved. In particular, the commission staff on this agenda item is respectfully requesting approval of the permit renewal request, satellite and request, and proposed calendar for Horseshoe as stated, and the satellite facility in Clarksville.
So do we have a motion to approve those two permits?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I don't know if there's anything else we need to have. We're going to have the report, operation report, in a little while, so that'll take care of the specific items. Any other questions, commission members? Seeing none, go to the roll call.
Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes,
Aye.
Commissioner Levengood.
Aye.
It passes, and that was for both of them. Now the next item on the agenda is consideration approval of Harrah's Hoosier Park permit renewal application, as well as the approval of the satellite facility in New Haven and Indianapolis.
Again, the commission staff would ask that it be moved and approved for the renewal for these particular locations.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of these permits for Hoosier Park and for the satellite facilities at New Haven and Indianapolis.
Second.
Moved
I
and,
second.
great. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes,
Aye.
Commissioner Levengood.
It passes also. So now you're in business for another year. Next on the agenda is consideration of Caesar's 2025 operational plan as required by the commission's final order dated July 15th, 2020. Joe, are you going to coordinate this to start with? And very, very good book that you guys prepared for us. Very helpful.
Thank you. Joe Morris with Caesars Entertainment Racing. I'll get this started. As previous years, we will have Hoosier and three of our team members there do that presentation, and three from Horseshoe doing the same. I'd like to show a quick video, if I could, before we get started with that, showing the amount of TV and some of the different spots that we ran this year. We ran more television commercials than we have in the 5 seasons that New Caesars had these tracks. And we did it using our personalities with local media personalities. But before we go to that, I'd like to, since the chair at the end of the October 24th meeting hit on some of our license conditions, and he said his sheets were always on his desk. My sheets are always on my desk also. We live with those and carry them forth. In specific, I believe there was 5 he brought up. Number 6 is for the plan. It's about the plan. The plan this year was done the earliest it's been done in the 5 seasons we've been here. We emailed this out to commission and our horseman partners on October 4th, and we had this printed on October 17th. We weren't sure that this would be taken up at the October 24th meeting, so we made sure that we had it done on that. Very pleased with the plan for this year. Number 7 is on marketing. At Hoosier this year, and you'll see in the plan and with Rick, we did not hit our handle projections. It's the first time we haven't. We've done 10 plans between the 2 tracks over the 5 seasons. We've hit 9 out of 10 handle projections, but we did not hit that. It was still the 4th highest handle we've ever had in the history of Hoosier. It was still well over 100 million, 109 million. And the track had never done over 100 million in any of the previous years. And we've been going 31 years now. So we're proud of that number. We did increase the marketing as a part of that. And at Horseshoe, we came in just under our 1.5 million where we've been the last few years. Number 10 is on regular meetings and communications. We're at all the commission meetings. We're at the HBPA board meetings. My GMs meet with the horsemen's groups regularly. I meet with them regularly. The communications are good between the partners. Number 18 is the best in class, I would say. I would argue that there's not a finer backstretch in harness racing than the one right out behind us here. I think the horsemen would even agree with that. On the front stretch side of that, we have the hop. It was so popular through the RCFAC, we did an addition on it. It's getting noticed from other tracks, having the activities like that out on the tracks. Very family-like, very festive, different games, different children. It's a one of a kind in harness racing. There's not another track that has anything like it. And if you go down to Horseshoe, similar on the backstretch, and we built a 105 stall barn. We've added 50 dorm rooms. We're one of the only tracks with a Euro sizer. And you get over to the front side and we have the canopy. Now, the most calls I was getting on racetracks was at Horseshoe on the drones we were using. We were the first track to bring drones into the show. Now I get more calls on the canopy. And you'll see more on that, but a great place to have the party, to watch races. It's sunshade, it's rain shade, it's wind shade. It's very comfortable with 3 or 4 different areas, including bars and food and beverage. Then number 24, again, was on communications. And we have daily, weekly, monthly communications. We're talking to the commission staff regularly. We're talking to our horseman partners regularly. And I don't think communications have probably ever been any better at almost any racetrack I've ever been at. We do a good job talking with each other, the good and the bad. They're not all super friendly, but we hash through things. And we're able to keep moving these properties forward. So with that, I would like to show the video and then we'll start the presentation.
Hey friends, I'm up here at Harrah's Hoosier Park in Anderson. We've got racing analyst Jacob with us. This is a big weekend that you and your family can come check out. Down here at Horseshoe Indianapolis in Shelbyville with Racing Rachel. We got a big weekend coming up. Welcome to Harrah's Hoosier Park in Anderson, the very best standard bred horses in North America.
It is a family-friendly place. Thanks for being here.
It is beautiful here at Horseshoe Casino in Shelbyville.
So much going on. Also family-friendly, as always. Lots of activities.
There's a lot of different things to check out.
A little bit of everything for everybody.
Sponsored by Horseshoe Indianapolis.
Join us, Harrah's Hoosier Park and Casino, for Indiana's premier night of harness racing.
The whole family will have a bright evening.
Action begins at Horseshoe Indianapolis.
It's located just off I-74 in Shelbyville. A wide array of free activities, food trucks, and more. Face painting and trackside giveaways.
Very nice. That's easier than reading the 77 pages of the book here. All that was in those pages, though. And I saw the drone shots, too. Hey, Rick.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, staff, thank you for allowing me to be here today. I am Rick Moore, Vice President and General Manager of Racing for Harrah's Hoosier Park. And I want to give you a little recap of 2024 and a little look ahead for 2025. Harrah's Hoosier Park had another solid and successful 2024 racing season. 17,181 horses competed in 2,084 races throughout the 160-day race meet for an average of 8.24 starters per race, which was down slightly from last year's 8.34 average starters per race. As Joe mentioned, we did see a dip in handle from what was originally projected. This followed the trend throughout harness racing in North America, which shows an over 6.5% decline in harness racing handle this year, as well as our international handle from Australia, where their overall handle numbers have been soft for the past 2 years. We actually did some research. We had our partners from Naira Content Management actually dig in and do some research as to what was going on in Australia, and they came back and let us know that Tabcorp, who distributes our signal in Australia, actually let them know that it's been soft in Australia for the last couple of years. And then combine that with the fact that Australia is now bringing in more product than they ever have before, so the competition is even keener getting into Australia and getting our market share. As Joe mentioned, I am pleased to report that 109 million in handle ranks fourth in all-time handle for the 31 racing seasons here at Harrah's Hoosier Park. The 3 ahead of this year were all under the auspices of New Caesars. There were a number of big event nights throughout the meet. The first was our 5th annual Empire of Hope night on Saturday, July 27th, where a record $57,000 was raised for the aftercare of standardbred racehorses. As you know, we are really big into the aftercare of standardbred racehorses. I'm fortunate enough to sit on the board of the Standardbred Transition Alliance, a national organization whose mission is to make sure that the aftercare of racehorses is first and foremost in our minds in our industry. The signature race meet of the night in 2024 was our Dan Patch Stakes night on Friday, August 8th, which also kicked off part of the meet that we refer to as our championship season. The majority of the race card was telecast on Fox Sports 2, where Harrah's Hoosier Park was the only racetrack featured during that 3-hour broadcast. For all of our big nights, we had marketing partnerships in place with Twin Spires, FanDuel, and Daily Racing Form. Next up was our Caesars Trotting Classic night on Friday, September 20th, where a handle of 1.6 million was the second highest non-Breeders' Crown night handle in Harrah's Hoosier Park history. That night, we had Fox Sports 1 with a 3-hour broadcast, with, again, Harrah's Hoosier Park being the only racetrack featured. We also had Dave Weaver from FanDuel, from out in Los Angeles, here for the entire evening to host the Caesars Trotting Class night program on FanDuel. Hoosier Champions Night on Friday, October 11th, produced a handle of a 1.249, which was the highest ever Hoosier Champions Night handle. ADW source market fees, our state ADW source market fees that we all look at so closely, will look to come in at about 4.5 million for 2024, 4.5 million. We've actually budgeted this up to be a little bit in 2025 to 4.6. We did have a purse adjustment of 5% on June 1st in an effort to react proactively to year-to-date revenues. And I'm pleased to tell you that I expect our purse account to come in with a surplus of about 1.1 to 1.2 million at the end of December. We can continue to offer year-round training and stabling for the benefit of our horsemen and horsewomen. We have allotted 263 stalls for the 2024-2025 all season. I know we'll talk about that more towards the end of the meeting. We continue to offer what we call instant carryovers, which is this commission approved several years ago, which has been really beneficial to us. That's where we have carryovers whose pools do not produce an outright winning ticket, and where we are subsequently offer a guaranteed pool on the next race that is offering that same wager. In 2024, we had 92 instant carryovers in the amount of 422,000, which produced incremental handle of over $2 million in the guaranteed pools that we set. So we're really pleased that the commission allowed us to do this several years ago. Joe mentioned the Hoosier Outdoor Patio proved once again to be a popular hangout, so much so that we added a second phase to the hop in September. Additionally, we had food trucks and live musical entertainment on Saturday nights, and that proved to be a winning combination at the hop. We will continue that program in 2025. And as Joe said, the best area in harness racing got even better this year with the addition of Wi-Fi in a number of our backside buildings and paddocks, LED lighting added to all barn stalls, tankless water heaters in the paddock barns, as well as water heater boosters in all other barns. On the front side, 15 additional high-definition e-terminals have been added to our simulcasting area carols, making 35 added over the past 2 years. I'm also pleased to say that all items on the 15-year equipment list have been purchased this year. In total, we have spent over $1.3 million between the 15-year equipment list and our RCFAC projects/equipment. I would like to point out that a new equine ambulance has been purchased to address on-track safety issues while our equine participants. As far as the front side building is concerned, we have new dining venues just off the casino floor and the outside racing apron featuring the hop with the addition of Dash Cafe and Sliced Pizza, along with the adjoining Sip Bar. Both locations feature a wonderful view of live racing taking place just outside the windows. Pretty much unheard of in casinos to have windows, right? We have windows that feature live racing when you're dining in the casino. Jacob Reinheimer and Jeremy Medley will talk to you in a few minutes regarding our race marketing expenditures and community giving. But I'm proud to say that we have spent in excess of $750,000 in our race marketing efforts and $430,000 in community giving. Most of that spent right here in Anderson and Madison County. As you know, we will be opening the 2025 racing season a week earlier this year, with opening night scheduled for Friday, March 14th. The traditional 160-day meet will continue through Saturday, November 29th. First post time will again be 6:15 p.m., with the exception of Saturdays when post time will be 7 p.m. Our goal is to grow handle in 2025, with this year's $109 million projected to be over $115 million in 2025. We will again rely heavily on our marketing partnerships with the major ADW companies, but we will also be working on ways to attract more horses from Kentucky and Ohio to bolster our racing programs. One thing the commission has already done that's going to help us next year is reduce the number of hours the horses have to be here for blood gas and Lasix administration. We think that's going to be a big help. We have other ideas that we think will be a big help also. We have also been challenged by Joe to see how we can create another big night or two. So he's challenged us, and we'll meet that challenge. You know, I'm a big believer, I'm a big, admirer, I guess you would say, of Steve Jobs. You know, when Steve Jobs came back to Apple, he did one thing. He challenged his staff to think differently. That's exactly what we plan to do. In addition to the robust Indiana Sire Stakes program, Harrah's Hoosier Park will have an open stakes program that will offer over $6.5 million in purses that will once again attract the best horses, drivers, and trainers to Harrah's Hoosier Park throughout the 2025 season. Our capital spending for 2025 includes just under $750,000 from the 15-year equipment list, and just one item right now on the RCFAC list, although it's a big one, $650,000 for the video board wings that you have already approved. We hope to have those installed starting in February to be completed before the start of the 2025 racing season. I will add that there are a number of other RCFAC projects being discussed, and I feel certain we will be back before this board asking for your approval on such. We do not have a signed agreement with the Indiana Standardbred Association at this time, but I feel very comfortable in saying that we will have one in hand shortly. Speaking of the ISA, I can tell you that we have met throughout 2024 in a constructive and collaborative manner on both operating issues and promotional activities. The ISA is actively involved in all facets of Harrah's Hoosier Park's operation. Those are the highlights from 2024, and a look ahead to 2025. I would be glad to answer any questions that you may have. And if not, if you want to hold the questions till our presentation is over with.
Yeah, let's do that.
I will introduce Mr. Jacob Reinheimer
Good.
to go through our race marketing program. Jacob?
Jacob Reinheimer, Race Marketing Manager here at Harrah's Hoosier Park. Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Before I jump in, I'll give just a little bit of background on me. I know I served as pinch hitter for Emily Gaskin for this presentation a couple of years ago, but 2024 did mark my first year as the Race Marketing Manager. I had worked 6 years prior in the Race Marketing Department here at Hoosier Park, serving as both an intern before going to the Race Marketing Admin position. And before that, grew up in a family involved in harness racing, so pretty much as long as I could walk and talk, I've been involved in racing. I'm really excited to talk to you about our efforts in race marketing for the 2024 racing season and the foundation it lays looking ahead to the 2025 racing season. As Rick said, promotion within the industry has remained a huge focus through publications such as Daily Racing Forum and Harness Racing Update, or through ADW companies such as Twin Spires, creating exciting promotions for our bettors. On a national scale, both the Dan Patch Stakes and Caesars Trotting Classic starred on Fox Sports. But then from a local level, this is where we've seen a lot of growth in 2024. That growth primarily comes in the Indianapolis broadcasting networks. We've had regularly scheduled commercials on the NBC, ABC, and CBS affiliates, along with commercials in addition to morning show segments with both Wish TV and Fox 59, all in an effort to get Hoosier Park in front of this local market. Once people got here to the racetrack, we wanted to make sure we were providing a lot of entertainment to create a family fun environment in 2024. Spend in entertainment for the year totaled $104,000, doubling from where we were in that same bucket just 2 years ago in 2022. That spend goes towards things such as rides, petting zoos, rock walls, roaming entertainment, and much more for our signature stakes days, along with our Family Fun Saturday series, which takes place on the last Saturday of each month, including days like Empire of Hope and our very popular Fright Night at the Races. Rick touched on it. The Hop has been a huge success, and so has the Hop Bebop concert series. We've had this every Saturday, June through September in 2024, with a total of 21 performances that were free to the public, taking place during live racing during the Hop. We've paired this with a food truck along with cornhole, making sure that we were having a really fun Saturday summer night feel to live racing all throughout the summer. With that being said, we also want to make sure that the entertainment is there to complement live racing and not take away from live racing. So we do work hard with our vendors to make sure that once the starting gate goes in motion, all eyes go to the racetrack. Understanding that with an increase in promotion and focus on entertainment, we are going to bring new folks to the racetrack for the first time. We want them to feel comfortable and offer them a wide variety of resources so that they feel comfortable getting involved in racing. We do this through how to wager brochures available at our program stand, complimentary tip sheets provided throughout the property, a racing ambassador available on the floor from our rewards team, as well as I make sure our race marketing team is active and available on the floor. As promotions go, we are proud to say once again, for all 160 days of the racing season, we offered a free-to-play racing contest. These contests are designed to be both engaging for our most hardcore handicapper while also being accessible for those who are brand new to racing. When it comes to the VIP aspect, we are proud to continue the GM Mix and Mingle series that we've had up in the top of the park, offering free food and drinks to our top racing VIPs because we're very well attended in 2024, and give them an opportunity to sit down with the likes of Rick Moore and myself as to what they would like to see going forward for the property. Going forward in 2024 or 2025 rather, we understand that there has been a shift in handle from on-track to the digital ADW companies. That being said, we want to continue to offer rewards and perks that hopefully continue to outweigh the benefits or the convenience of betting with those ADW companies. So we do want to continue to offer promotions to our VIP players who are most susceptible to going to those ADW sites. And we do so with different racing contests that, for example, say you have to earn entries based on the number of times you're playing with our racing contest, and we'll have cash giveaways based on the number of times you're playing along with us. Or we're also looking or exploring the idea of 2025, a leaderboard promotion based on how much you're playing with your card at our machines over that period of time. And then we'll reward, say, the top 10 at the end of it. Again, just trying to continue to offer perks and rewards to combat the ADW shift and handle we've seen over the course of the last couple of years. That being said, we do want to make sure we offer a lot to our simulcast customers. We do so by offering a free online racing program available on the Hoosier Park website all season long, along with free tip sheets and additional handicapping tools such as driver and trainer statistics. We've also enhanced our racing broadcast over the course of 2024. As opposed to only bringing in guest handicappers on our big stakes nights, we've worked with our rotation to have more regularly scheduled weekend appearances with these guest handicappers that include a familiar face like Emily Gaskin, as well as Hall of Fame broadcaster Bob Hollywood Hayden, as well as the three who are largely responsible for handling the Fox Sports broadcast, Jenna Otten, Jessica Otten, and Gabe Pruitt. In partnership with the Indiana Standardbred Association, we also had a new endeavor in 2024, Breakfast at the Hop. That was a very large success, an educational series that both offered coffee and donuts for those who wanted to come out for morning qualifiers, while 2-year-olds took their first tour of the Hoosier Park Oval. But in addition, we sat down with a well-regarded trainer for a nice little Q&A session. Those trainers include the likes of the winningest trainer in the sport's history, Ron Burke, Breeders' Crown champion Jamie McCumber, last year's Dan Patch champion Jay Hoxtetler, as well as IHRA Hall of Famer Ernie Gaskin. We look forward to bringing that back in 2025 as well. All told, at the end of the year, we spent over $750,000 on our race marketing efforts. Looking ahead to 2025, we anticipate spend to very closely mirror what we've done in 2024. I can open it up to questions, or I'll be glad to pass it over to Director of Marketing Jeremy Medley.
Do we have any questions for Jake? I've got one. As I read through in both tracks, obviously, the tension between, like in this case, 4% of your handle comes on the track and 96% is off track. Most of what you're spending is for on track. I just don't know how you do that tightrope, because you do have to, I mean, if 96% is out there, you gotta market that. But then again, are those people that maybe have come to the track in the past and it's just easier to sit home and do it on the phone, or are they people who've never been to the track? Or because what I'm saying is, if you get people to the track and then they end up being an off track, well, that's okay, but you get more money if they're on track. So I don't know how you do that tightrope.
Yeah, it is definitely a tightrope in regards to that. Rick does a great job working with our ADW companies and those promotions that we do through Twin Spires and FanDuel to attract the folks who are betting off-site. That being said, there's certainly a learning curve. The idea of all this on-track entertainment is to get new folks involved in harness racing, but there is a learning curve associated with that before you feel comfortable betting a lot of money on something you're just now learning about. That's why we do continue to focus on offering those resources available, trying to get them as comfortable as early as they can and as quick as they can. But yeah, it's absolutely a tightrope, and getting more and more so as more and more wagering goes to off-track locations. That's certainly kind of a conundrum facing horse racing in general right now, but we're doing our best to find that balance. And with that being said, we want this to be a fun place to come to, and that's why entertainment continues to be such a focus that it is here.
Just one other thing, and maybe this is for you or somebody else, but comparing the bets that are off track versus on track, do the off track people bet more per bet, I guess. I'm not sure how to even say it. Or do the on-track people bet more per race or?
I
per
would say
bet?
the off-track likely bet more.
It's
Those
more,
are more
okay.
people that are, you're more established handicappers that are going to go to the sites like Twin Spires or FanDuel, as opposed to it's going to be more casual wagering on the folks who are here on track.
I have a question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The world I came from, we tried desperately to get new people interested in whatever we were doing. You. I just used my voice. So here's the deal. We did things for Women for Football. And we would do things where we would do at the baseball park, we would bring people in and we'd get them on the field. And you'd be amazed at how they became disciples for what we were doing. And I wonder, and I always refer to running into homeroom and copying from the smartest person in the room. Do you copy from, do you know what the other tracks are doing? And just like your canopy, I mean, you know, that's, so somebody else is going to copy that. So I'm assuming that you're watching what other people are doing and copying. And I can only tell you where I came from. We tried to get people that, and I have lots of friends at the 500 track. And when they came up with the 2-seater and they had people in the back seat going around the corner 200 miles an hour, they became instant fans. And I have no idea how you can get people on the horse track. That would be dangerous. But maybe it's in the starting block or up in the announcers. All I can tell you is since I've been on this commission, I've been thinking of what I would be doing if I were you. And it's always novel and it's different, and how you get somebody that wouldn't be in your world to do that. And sometimes you just got to grab them by the back of the neck. And it could be where, you know, you have people that, in our case, just getting them on the field and in the locker room, sometimes they just got really excited. So I don't know if you would have something where you could have a day where people could come and learn how to bet, go to the back of the track, get in the stalls, muck a stall, whatever that would be. And they all of a sudden become part of your legion. Just a thought.
Yeah, and so this is something I'm glad you brought this up. Jeremy Medley, our director of marketing, kind of came to us with an idea he's had of having folks kind of sponsor a night of racing in 2025 to where, you know, we're naming different races after them. You get them in the starting car for that race. They can go in the winner's circle presentation after that race and really feel a part of that night's action, kind of take ownership in the night of racing. You're going to be more involved to do so. So that is something we are looking to exploring in 2025.
Jacob, just one quick question, and maybe Rick, you can answer this as well, and then we'll give you the floor. Just for the commissioner's information, what percentage of on-track wagering goes into purses, and what percentages of off-track wagering goes to purses?
8% on all live races here at Heritage Park, 5% on all the simulcasting races here at Heritage Park, as opposed to when folks are wagering around the country at all the bricks and mortars. We go to about 900 different outlets. We average about 3.8%, and that's split between the racetrack and the purse account. So it's 1.9. So it is a lot more here at the track. We're never going to give up on getting people here to the track. And Commissioner Levengood, you asked, and it really struck me, do you look at what other racetracks do? And I can say, yes, we do. And me personally, we have 16 TVs in our mutual office. We monitor activities at all the different racetracks around the country they're going. And I will stand there, and these guys will tell you that. I just stand there, and I look up at those tracks, and I look to see what they're doing. I don't care how big or how small a track. I've never been to a racetrack where I didn't pick up an idea from that track. So to your point, that's a great point that you made, because look, what do they say? What sincerest form of flattery is copying? Yeah.
But so there's about a 3% premium for the purse to have the bet here at the track, but you're spending almost all your money in marketing to get that. So you get, it's at as a CEO, you start thinking about return on investments. That's
But
hard.
you mentioned that fine line. We're spending a lot of money. It's funny, our ADW, we call them partners. They're also competitors, depending on the day and the hour. The ADW companies, they're our partners, they're our competitors. And, we want the people to bet here. First and foremost, we want people to come here and we want them to bet here. Unfortunately, the convenience of that smartphone is now controlling our lives. And I can come here. Joe makes this point all the time. He comes here with not a lot of money in his pocket, but if he wanted to make a bet, if he had to make a bet, he'd probably do it on his phone. So and I'm just using Joe as an example, but that's the way of the world. But we have not given up. We will not give up getting people to this track.
Let me ask you this. And I'm assuming the answer is no, but the person that bets here doesn't have better odds or better chances?
No.
Yeah. So
No. It's all one pool, and you're getting the same odds, same everything. But I just wanted to comment because that really struck me when you talk about, looking at what other people do. I really do. I think there's a lot to be gained by looking at what others do. I will tell you, we have one thing in common, all the racetracks in this country. We're all trying to figure out how to get more money pushed through the tote machines at our racetracks.
Joe Morris again, just a couple more, a little flavor. Of that 96%, the biggest handle generators in this country are the computer players. They're not coming to the track. They don't come. They sit in offices, not even at their homes. They sit in offices with representatives, and they push money into these pools late in the cycle. Another issue to the side. I will tell you, as Rick said, there's a blurred line. There's no line anymore. It's a blurred line between on track and ADW, because everybody that bets horses, probably betting sports now also, does it off an account. And people come here and play off their phones, off their devices. So it's not that we have less people. The handle's shifted. It's coming in a different manner now. So we still want to get them here because they'll still eat our food and drink and hopefully bring friends. But the other differentiator is anybody of any size that's gambling gets a rebate. We don't rebate here. But if you're on your device, you could get up to a 10% rebate for wagering.
So nobody to copy from has figured out how to incentivize financially to bet on site versus off site.
And we've tried a lot of different things. Of years of 40 years in the industry of having a boost if you bet, and we could try that again. Some of why do we put so much here? You go back to our conditions. One of our charters is to get people here. So we want to make sure we're investing that amount of money to continue to try. And we believe in that. Our horsemen still believe in that. And look at our big days. We pop our big days.
Well, the whole thing is to put money in the pocket of the person that's out on the road, that's a gas station, et cetera.
And we try to drive that. And then my goal always is purses. Even sitting from the track side, I want my purse money. So it's a different world than what it was, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
So purses in 2024 were a bit down from what they were in 23, though, right? Is that a fair
I don't
statement?
have the numbers in front of me, but I would guess that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would add
Wasn't
one.
the adjustment made in June or something like that when it was adjusted down. I think so.
5% down, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I will make one other comment. The things we do here on track, like our contest that Jacob comes up with and runs, you have to be a member of the Caesars Rewards Club to participate. We want you to earn points on your Caesars Rewards card. We want to be able to communicate with you through your Rewards Club account. Just like any other business, you want to talk to your customer. So, we encourage people to get a Caesars Rewards card, enjoy our contest. We have one contest each and every night, and you earn points that you can be used for different things, food, merchandise, whatever. But we do very much encourage people to join our Caesars Rewards Club.
Someday when I get kicked off the commission, I'll get one. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate it.
I'll turn things over to Jeremy Medley, our Director of Marketing.
You had a lot of backup there.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Medley, Director of Marketing here at Harris Hoosier Park. I think a lot of people here are fairly familiar with my background, but I'll go over some things about myself for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet me yet. I have been with Hoosier Park going on 14 years now. Started as a part-time rep in our guest services department, slowly moving my way up through marketing through the years. And I was also born and raised in Anderson, Indiana. I've lived here my entire life. That being the case, I'm very, very aware of the many needs that Madison County is facing at large, and Anderson in particular. So let's talk about the impact we've had on that community for 2024. We have put a total of $430,000 towards our community spend this year, and of that, we have spent $324,650 in Madison County alone. One of our major focuses this year has been on social equity. That's a very broad term. It encompasses many different needs, many different issues deserving of our attention. That's housing, that's programs for victims of domestic violence, that's food availability, the list goes on. And in this area, we have donated over $75,000 locally. That includes over $25,000 to the Heart of Indiana United Way, the many endeavors that they support to offer low-income households opportunities to enrich their lives. That is donations to CASA and Habitat for Humanity, their wonderful efforts in providing the community with housing. The Indiana Coalition for Domestic Violence, Outfitters, their program to clothe the needy, and the Gathering of Queens and their food pantry program. This is just a few of the organizations that we've assisted in 2024. Now, as I said, there are many families in dire need within our community, and it's crucial that they're getting access to everything that they need to improve their lives. And part of investing in your community means investing in ways to improve education and employment opportunities, especially with our local youth. We have donated $25,000 to the Madison County Foundation. They've got an extensive scholarship program. It's a vital part of providing education and future employment opportunities for locals. Donations to the Hopewell Center, the Leadership Academy of Madison County, the Family Solution Center, and Boy Scouts of America. Again, just a few of the organizations we have given to in 2024. Another key area of focus is obviously you've got your health and medical needs. That's funds for both resources and awareness programs for physical and mental health. In this area, we spent over $50,000 this year, and that is not including our efforts in senior care. In that area, we actually spent an additional $20,000 for organizations such as Community LTC, that's Community Long-Term Care, and Lifestream Services. This is an area that we kind of evaluated early this year, and we felt is often overlooked. Our older generations who may not be able to live independently are deserving of fulfilling lives and deserving of assistance. But it's also not just about donating for us. It's also about facilitating different community events and fundraisers, and also just getting out there and being a part of making those changes, getting out there and doing volunteer work. Our Empire of Hope fundraiser, which Rick alluded to earlier for the Standard Bread Transition Alliance, raised $57,000 this year. Our facility has been the site of several, I believe 6 Red Cross blood drives this year. We've hosted a diaper drive, a canned food drive. Right now we're participating in Operation Love. It is a wonderful event where basically our team members are collecting funds for different families in need in the community, and also going out and doing the shopping for them based on the holiday wish list that they're providing us with. It's really wonderful work there. A number of our executive team members, as well as our staff at large, has also participated several times this year in the second Harvest Food Drive. I can speak from personal experience. It's very gratifying being out there. You see an absolutely massive line of cars from local citizens who need groceries for their family. And many times we are out there and you are able to get that line knocked out within less than a couple of hours. And then sometimes with a big enough crew, just a little over an hour. In our equine spin, in addition to the previously mentioned Empire of Hope, we've also donated to the Harness Horse Youth Foundation. I think everyone here knows they do a fantastic job educating our future horsemen. Agape, whose therapy programs provide really unique opportunities to bond people with horses, and Sweet Liberty's Rescue Ranch program. I hope all of this reaffirms our commitment to the community and the wonderful organizations we've partnered with over the past year, and we look forward to being a part of this community in 2025. Thank you. I'm open for any questions.
Any questions, commission members? I guess I have one on, out of your $430,000 expense on your pie chart, you've got other, and that's $47,850. Example of what falls into other.
Other, is that in the community breakdown? That would be things that I believe fall outside of the Madison County.
That's what I meant.
Madison
It's got to
County.
be, it's not equine, it's not Madison County, it's not Anderson, it's whatever the other is.
So there are some different like youth groups, for example, in Muncie that we've done work with over the years. There's also several organizations in Indianapolis we've done work with. I know in the past that can include things like the Indianapolis, I'm spacing on the phrase for it right now, their horse.
Mounted Patrol. Yeah.
Yes. So it can allude to a few different things like that.
Okay, I just didn't know because everything else was in the proper place. Any other questions
I want to
for Jeremy?
on a roll here today.
Oh, on a roll.
It's really awkward, but I don't know how else to say this. How you leverage having a blood drive and having them in your facility and trying to get them to come back and be a horse better.
Oh, no, that's not an awkward question at all. No, I think, one of the things that we do here when they are here, oftentimes we've got the same materials that Jacob mentioned earlier, the, how to wager brochures and stuff like that are available. Obviously, we make sure that the blood drives are, part of this is just simple logistics, but those blood drives are happening on trackside. They are within, if you are out under our awning out front and you walk inside, the first thing you're going to see is our programs window. You're going to see those simulcast monitors. And it's also something to be said about kind of tying in with Family Fun Night and different community events, making this known to be a place for the community. This is something where people can come out and they're being exposed to racing, even if it's, just for that brief period that they're participating in a Red Cross blood drive. They are seeing that and associating that as this is a place that I would like to go and spend time. This is a place for the community.
It's a soft sell, not a hard sell.
Yeah, it's we are not too aggressive with it.
Question for you. Thanks for the presentation.
you.
When we talk about the hop, can you give me an idea of, how many people generally show up on a Saturday, just in very general numbers? I know you don't track attendance per se.
Generally, we could have as many as, well, actually, this is kind of a lower number for this year. I know that there were many nights where when you looked out there, we had probably 100 to 200 on a basic hop bebop night, in some cases more than that. And that's, of course, specifically when we've had music, live music and stuff like that going on. And the weird trend we noticed this year, though, was that as people got introduced to the hop bebop, the cornhole, the other live entertainment that we would have out there, what would happen is even on nights where we didn't have anything other than maybe cornhole going on through the week, you started to see an increase in families. It just became something, again, kind of like what I was saying about the blood drives. something that they just started associating with, this is a place to go and do something with my family.
So then my follow-up question to that, because that's a good thing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So my follow-up question to that would be, are you able to keep food trucks interested in coming out? Because I know I've sat on boards and worked in different environments where you have promises from food truck owners to be on site, and then they don't show up, and then you're scrambling to try to figure out, because you have all these people here and you have no way to feed them. Do you guys have relationships built with food truck owners, or
Oh,
how do you keep them interested in coming?
Absolutely. We do.
Even though you might not have a high attendance day, they may actually have a loss if they come here.
Oh yeah, and that's something I think that a lot of them are aware of. I don't think often that they're walking away with losses, which helps a lot. But we do actually have relationships with two of the food trucks who come in regularly. One of them is Nerdy Barbecue, and the other one is, the name escapes me right now, but it is a taco truck. These two come in. They're actually former team members from here. One of them is a couple of our former slot attendants, and the other one is one of our former catering team members. They come out here. They're very close with the property. Everybody loves Nerdy Barbecue, especially. That's a favorite one. We're making sure that we're promoting them on social, for one thing. That's one thing you want to stay on top of. And I think even when you don't have I honestly don't know if we've had many nights where they've seen low volumes, but even if you were to have a night where the volume isn't high as, say, something like Empire of Hope, right? They're often going to have more traffic here than you would in some of the other options that you have in Anderson. Just to be, kind of straightforward about that, there's not a lot of fantastic locations where you can park a food truck and people can will notice you, for one thing, and B, like, maybe it's just not the best environment to be in. A lot of food trucks will be in, at places, in parking lots where people can just pass right by them and not even notice them. Whereas here, you've got the natural flow of people into the property and out of the property, and between casino side and track side, who are going to see those.
Do you only have food trucks for special events, or is it kind of a staple? Because let's just face it, there's less food opportunities here than there were back in 2019, let's say. So
we have them for every family fun night. So that's the final Saturday of every month. We have them, as well as steaks nights. It is predominantly, though, yes, on special nights. There may be occasions where one may reach out to us to ask if they can come in for a night, though, and spend time here. And of course, we're going to say yes to that. But anytime it is felt that they are needed, we are making sure they are here for that. And I think that's a part of what keeps that relationship strong.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? I guess that made me think too. Any thought about bringing the buffet back? That's a good marketing tour or trip.
A little outside of my purview, but I do not believe there are
okay.
plans for that at this
Okay.
point.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Jeremy.
No problem. I'll turn it over to Eric with Horseshoe Indianapolis now.
Welcome.
Thanks, Chairman Borst. Eric Hallstrom, Vice President, General Manager at Horseshoe Indianapolis, GM of Racing. So I'm going to try to be brief here because Tammy Knox is up after me. She's smarter, more interesting, and all that. So I think I can probably try to cut straight here. But I'm happy to come up here and report that we just had a great year down in Shelbyville this year. Proud to tell you that for the 5th straight year, we've increased handle over the prior year. You may recall at this time in 2023, we had just a monumental increase. It was 23% over 2022. That was like a first round knockout. This year was a 15-round decision and we won. But we did it through what I would think is was some real tough situations that we had to battle. And I'll tell you a little bit. In 2023, our handle was 309 million when you include international handle and what you see through our own pools. This year, it's going to be about 325. We're still waiting on some international handle to come through out of Europe. But for frame of reference, in 2019, that total handle was 151 million. So the team has done just really, really good work, and there's been results, and it's really been proven. But some of the headwinds are significant here. The thoroughbred and quarter horse industry this year, the handle, if it stays the way the first 3 quarters went, it should be down about 8%. And when you consider that we're going to be up 2 or 3% over last year, that's a really good year. And what it does show is that we've started taking, not just started, but we've continued to take handle away from other tracks. We've increased our market share, and we see reports, Joe, Trent, and I, every week, and it's really, there's long tenured tracks who've had racing for 100 years, and we've just gone right by them. And it's not because there's more handle in the industry right now. We're just taking it from them, and that's a real credit to our horsemen. We have good horses. They participate. And then our director of racing, Chris Polson, who's here too, really did a great job this year. The horses are not just overflowing, and our starters per race this year will be just basically what it was last year, just shy of eight runners per race on the thoroughbred side, and just shy of 9 on the quarter horse side, which when the industry comes out with numbers at the end of the year, we're going to be up near the top. Part of that is also we have a very safe racetrack, which those statistics will come out as, we're going to be right near the top of safety as far as the industry goes too, which is something that we all should be proud and happy about. But, there's other issues on our side. On the thoroughbred side, we took $1 million out of purses this year for HISA. We take it right out that you can, and we did so, and we didn't have a resulting purse cut. By increasing our handle and getting a little bit more every year from those who bet from out of state, Commissioner Levengood, when you're asking those questions. Joe and I were in Arizona last week, and one of the most important meetings we had was with our broker, the one who sells our signal, and the only charge we gave them was get more from them. If it's that much, we'll take it. And because when you start to get into 320 million, 0.1% means a lot, and it can keep you from, having to cut races or whatever kind of purses that might have to come your way. But it's something that we think all the time about, and we do put our money towards a lot of it towards reaching people outside our state. Tammy is going to be up next and tell you all the really cool things we do to bring people to the races. But we race Monday to Thursday as a rule during the day, and it's tough getting people there. But one of the ways we've helped not decrease purses is by staying with these customers outside our borders, and it's paid off. Giving HISA $1 million is a significant amount of money. It will go up next year. We'll have to figure out how we do that, but we plan on taking more off other racetracks and paying for that way. So all in all, it was a great year. And don't forget, in April and May, it rained every day. And so the biggest weapon we have for creating handles, that turf course, and we didn't use it for much of those 2 months there. A really great story coming from our side, and very proud of the team. I'm just going to pick out a few days here that I wanted to highlight and just make sure that you're aware of, some of the cool things happening at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Our Indiana Derby in that weekend has become really great, and something where we're not only pleased, but it's starting to become something that the rest of the country needs as part of their day. This year we had Fox Sports and TVG with us. They came on their own. They sent their own staff. We find them a space so they can work, and this is much different than the old days where you're writing checks to get people there and making sure they can travel. Our handle is approaching $9 million at this time. In 2019, that was $4 million. The horse that won the race is really good. We're going to see more from him next year. The trainers and the owners are at the top of our industry, and they're really excited about this horse. So we're seeing really great things happen on that weekend. This year for 2025, it'll be July 5th, first Saturday in July. It's kind of become our day. It'll be interesting because it's right after the holiday. It's the first time that we'll be running right after the Independence Day. But we're already have some plans there. Tammy can fill you in a little bit more as she gets up here. Indiana Champions Day, we just had our 5th Indiana Champions Day subsequent to our last meeting, and what a great event. We set another record for handle that day. The racing is really, really good, where you can watch and you can start to see that the quality and the depth is improving to a point where, you know, as somebody, I used to watch Indiana racing from afar, it wasn't this good. And, you know, our horsemen have, you know, got a lot to be proud of. They're really improving their stock. So, and then the last one I'll just mention, and let Tammy come on up a little bit here, is Veterans Day. And I mentioned I showed you the saddle towels and whatnot. Our team has really taken this on and has made this a source of pride. We've affiliated ourselves with the Helping Veterans and Family down in Indy, who a very good group. They came out for the first time and were able to watch, but TVG was here. Tammy got them to come to Shelbyville on a Monday in November, and we raised a little over $11,000. We're going to be taking that down to them sometime after the new year. And that type of, you know, 11,000, is that big or not? They think it's big, and you know that's what's important, and we'll keep doing that. We have more ideas to include them on stuff. They're, you know, just a very good organization. So in the last, I would just meet before Tammy. I want to bring up the quarter horse side of our business, because, you know, they had, I think we raced 5 more races this year than last year, which is a good number when you consider it's about 220 a year. But when you talk about a program improving and the leadership, Chris Duke has done a great job. Teresa Myers is, you know, really easy and good to work with. But we've got 2 grade 3 races at our facility for quarter horses now that didn't have those before. And these horses are going places and winning. We've got people getting into the business, you know, getting involved in horse racing. Our own buddy Brian Elmore is a stakes winning quarter horse owner now, you know, so these are the kind of things that are turning that program. The Saturdays are fun. You know, it's one of those days where we do what we can to market on track for that group. It's really a family event with, you know, a lot of things that I've really come to appreciate and learn more about that side of our business. So it's been a great year. I'll stand here and answer questions if you like, or we can let Tammy come up and get it at the end, whatever you think, Chairman.
Yeah, why don't we let Tammy do her thing,
Okay.
as she's been doing for years, very well.
Good morning. Tammy Knox, Horseshoe Indianapolis Race Marketing Manager. And I'm going to be brief as well, because I know everybody doesn't share my enthusiasm for marketing, so I don't want to bore everybody. Just to play off, it's not on my notes, just to play off the quarter horse, what Eric just saw, they just released this week, and I believe there's 5 stallions on the top 100 now. Is that correct? There's 4 of the Indiana Stallions, quarter horse stallions now on the top 100 in the United States. So that's pretty cool. So we did work with all 3 breed development organizations this year in a lot of our events that we have. I kind of look at marketing as a 3-legged stool. You've got your VIP, your relationship marketing, your retention program, rewards, that sort of thing. Then you have your events, and that's where we partner with all 3 of the organizations. We do a lot of charity tie-ins as well, and that has worked well for us. It brings kind of a new group of people out to the track when we're raising money for HVAF or Pups and Ponies. Whoops, sorry. And that sort of thing. And then the third one is the biggest one, and that's advertising. That takes up about half of our budget every year. We did, as Joe mentioned earlier, we did increase our television spend this year, and most of it was with Fox, CBS, and also with ABC. We increased all 3 of them, but those 2 got the majority of our advertising dollars for television. And I want to kind of explain something that's new, technology that we got in on the ground floor of last year. It's called OTT advertising. I have no clue what OTT stands for, but somebody with a Google behind me can probably look it up. But anyway, it's on the streaming services like Roku and YouTube TV, that sort of thing. And like if you and I are watching Andy Griffith on Sundance TV at commercial time, they're going to show different commercials for me than they would for you. And at the very same time, and you can really target, we can pick out different zip codes so that we're not advertising to somebody in Kokomo that probably wouldn't be coming to our facility. And we can also target our demographic, which is 35 to 65. So it's really worked well for us. We get a lot of statistical information back from that, so we know who's tuning in and where they're tuning in, and so it helps us kind of move forward. So that's kind of cool. I thought it was really cool that we're able to get kind of on the ground floor of that. So we're obviously going to continue with that in 2025. Just met last week with the billboard people. We have billboards going up the first of the year, and we have added one billboard. We'll have 2 on 74, and we'll have 1 on 65, and then we're retaining the one that we have at the airport. And that one's pretty expensive, but it gets a lot. I have a lot of people just out in the community say, "Oh, I saw your billboard over at the airport." So it's working. So with that, I'm just going to open up for questions. If anybody has any questions, we kind of touched on all of our events in the video. Does anybody have any questions?
I like your high-tech approach to whatever OTT is.
Whatever it stands for.
But if you can target market people, that's pretty nice.
That is, isn't it?
Of course, that's what the political people are going to do too. So guess what?
Yeah.
During election time.
Yeah.
Any questions for Tammy at all? Okay, I guess not.
All right.
You've escaped.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I didn't introduce Brian Lewis. He's our Vice President and Assistant General Manager at Horseshoe Indianapolis.
We just can't get rid of Brian Elmore one way or the other. It's like a bad penny, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a Hall of Famer. Brian Lewis, Horseshoe Indianapolis, Assistant General Manager. Just here to give you guys a brief update on our community spend in 2024. Is another great year. We donated $525,000 to our local communities. Some of the organizations that benefited from this, Shelby County Boys and Girls Clubs. So we've got 4 of them in Shelby County, and combined they got over $39,000. Echo Effect Arts Center. It's a cool spot in downtown Shelbyville that surrounds around art, but they've got a full-blown music studio in there, and it was really, really good. I got to go check it out, and it's really, really cool. They got $10,000, and then Scuffy, which is the Shelby County United Fund, kind of helps everybody in Shelbyville. $55,000. Out of that $525,000, $70,000 went towards equine-related groups. So Dakich Cycles for the City got $10,000, and Horse Angels got $4,000. Then outside of that $525,000, just like Jeremy mentioned for Hoosier Park, we like to get out into the community and engage with our community as well. We just Boys and Girls Clubs, all 4 of them again. We split up for to hand out Thanksgiving dinner to the kids. I was at the one in Shelbyville where we served approximately 250 children. It was a really cool event. I was on chips and cookies. It was probably the most important one because I had the cookies. But then we also held a first responders lunch in downtown Shelbyville where all the first responders in Shelbyville could come and get a free lunch. Pretty sure we served everybody on duty that day, including some guys that were off. So that was a really cool event to get with our community and the people that are out there keeping us safe. And then we also donated another shuttle bus to Shelby County Parks and Rec Department, help get the kids around all over Shelbyville for the various events that they do. And they were extremely thankful for that. So that's all I've got for you. We do continue to spend the majority of our money in Shelby County. It was approximately 56% was in Shelby County, and we will continue to do that in 2025.
I guess a similar question. You've got a category of regional, 29,000.
So regional is going to be the same as it was for other in HHP, just anything outside of Shelby County and not equine.
So that would have been,
We did a similar thing to Mounted Patrol in Indianapolis. We donated to them. Sometimes we
Greenwood Men's Club, I guess.
yeah, the Greenwood would be considered regional, correct?
Okay. Any other questions, commission members? Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Brian. Is that the end of the operational plan, huh? That's it? That's all you've done all year and all you're going to do next year, huh?
I do have a couple follow-ups just.
Go right ahead.
Okay. So, I don't know if it's Jeremy or Jacob or even Rick. This year I had an opportunity to kind of do a wider comparison. So I started like with 22 and worked my way up to 24. And one of the things I noticed was a decrease in on-track handle, which that's no surprise to anyone, from 22 to 24. Now, when I look at the 25 projected spend on billboards, direct mail, radio, television, etc., it's nearly, on my calculations, 15% lower than the spend in 22. Are you going to be adding additional things to make that up? I mean,
Yes. So the goal there is to, because we have seen an increase in attendance this year with the entertainment that we have had on property, we have shifted some of those funds over to entertainment. So that's your the things Jacob was talking about, live music, rides, petting zoos, stuff like that, to couple with racing. Now, that being said, obviously we're going to market these and we're going to really make sure that these are getting out there and that these are visible for our guests. And we are in a fortunate position where we have built relationships. Some of the media partners are long-term media partners, and we've been able to work with them to get reasonable rates for these TV spots without sacrificing an absolute ton of them. We've also started courting some new media partners who are giving us very good deals as a result of this being a new partnership. And on top of that, we have seen extreme success lately with our social media endeavors. We have a new marketing coordinator this year, Brandy Beeson. Brandy does fantastic video work. As some of you may have seen the Luckin Bronco video that featured a few of our drivers that we did for our Bronco giveaway. So we're going to be leaning more into that. I feel that's an area that in the past we have not been, we haven't exactly been as aggressive in as maybe we should have. And we started changing that this year, and we're going to be continuing to change that and enhance that next year. But we also do OTT here. That phrase is coming up again, what Tammy brought up. And one of the great things about OTT is it is about, it's comparable and sometimes cheaper than typical broadcast spots. So it's more that we're shifting a little bit of the funds from general media into entertainment, so we have a solid product for the whole family to promote, and then using the funds that we've got intelligently in that general media spend. That being said, if you look at some of the areas I've spent in over the past to what our budget was, I am clearly not shy. If I think there is value in going over budget, if our property thinks that there is value in going over budget, we will not neglect to take a good opportunity when we see one. And that's something, it's all about continuing to build a family, a community here, to grow that on-site handle. And we're just going to continue building upon the entertainment endeavors we made this year and marketing those.
okay. Well, I just, when I looked at the numbers and I saw that it was 15% lower, I'm like, okay, how are you gonna boost that back up? Because we're not in the business of spending less. We want to stay as is, or actually, quite frankly, increase.
Absolutely. That's something we're mindful of. And it's worth, I think Jacob covered this, but we spent twice as much in entertainment this year. So shifting those dollars there and saw pretty drastic results in terms of attendance for those nights where we had that entertainment. So boosting that budget while obviously still staying committed to general media was just something that was very important to us. And like I said, the social media elements we will be pursuing just as aggressively as we have pursued broadcasting and newsprint, radio, that kind of thing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Joe, this is a question
Commissioner.
towards you because you sit on top of both, and what I'm trying to do is like back and forth between the two, and clearly they're done by two organizations, which is good. And I'm assuming you're looking at all of it. Stay with me with this. I'm just trying to understand as new to this business, and I'm looking at the money where it says on track and then one's called live handle, one's on track. I assume it's the same thing, right? And then the next says total on track, and the other one says total handle. But one of them says Australia, and the other one says export. And what I'm trying to figure out, and I got to believe all the numbers add up, but for the future, you don't have to fix this. Hopefully, I'll be around next year. To try to somehow, when you look at them, because like this one's great. It has an average starts, average races, average days. This one doesn't. And then this one's got Australia, and I'm assuming maybe Australian guys don't like horseshoe. So I'm trying to figure those out.
Joe Morris with Caesars. Good observations on that. Now, Australia works at Hoosier because of the time of our post time. So it's very early in the morning, and at Horseshoe, it's the wrong time of day in Australia. So it's in the middle, but Horseshoe, we go international with. So we're in England, and you've noticed we've moved our post time a couple times. So we're hitting at about 7 o'clock in Europe, and that's a key spot. So we do Europe, Germany, France, Ireland. We go to South America with Horseshoe. Now, we're too late in the night at Hoosier for that. So Australia is our chance. We go to Canada with both. We go to South America with both. But that's part of the difference with it.
So then, is there some international at Hoosier that you're not reporting as Canadian?
We pretty much just have Canada and Canada and Mexico or South America. For the most of it comes through the parimutuel system, so it just shows up in our handle. There is some where they make their own pool that would show up, but Australia is primarily the foreign country we go to because it matches the time zone difference
I guess
for
I'm
us.
not trying to make a spreadsheet out of this thing, but I was trying to understand. So it's not exclusively Australia. There is some international, but you blend that into where?
It must be parimutuel. The international part would be Canada and South America, and it would come through parimutuel right into our everyday handle.
Or your export?
Yeah. So in the
Export. That's what it
and export is our signal, our live races getting exported to other locations. And there's rough number 900 at Hoosier, probably 1,000 at Horseshoe, other locations we go to.
And because it's not hard to do, I would ask you to do the average starts at Hoosier next year so that you can
And
compare.
absolutely we live by those numbers, so we certainly should have them
whole
in the
thing is when you
report.
have two
So
entities, you're trying to understand, are the guys at Hoosier knocking it out of the park, or the guys at Horseshoe, and how do you compare them? And clearly one's got a bigger total than the other one. By
well, and
almost
it's
three.
both sports are called horses, but they're very different. Those two worlds between thoroughbred and harness. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is a good observation. It'd be nice to have both tracks do the tables the same. Just a little more information.
Yeah, one's German, one's French right now. Sorry.
Any other questions? I guess what I might do is open it up to anybody in the audience. If you've got any thoughts, comments about the operational plans for either one of the tracks, give you a chance to, if you like it, you don't like it, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but I'm just going to open it up just in case. Don't leave anybody out. Hopefully you've had a chance to work ahead of time before we even saw it. So that's good. All right. Don't see anybody. No takers. I guess we're ready then to, oops, so I got a taker. Can't see. Oh, it's Ernie. Glad to see you. Very glad to see you.
Just a couple quick comments from, Ernie Gaskin, Director of the Indiana Standardbred Association. Tony, John, couple comments. One, quickly, overall, we think these guys do a fantastic job. Rick, Eric, it's not comparing apples to oranges as far as the standardbreds and thoroughbreds go. And they're forever looking for new venues. We spend 16 hours a day with our horses, so that's not our world. We bring the product out here, and a lot of times we're a little confused why it isn't as good as it used to be. We think we've got better horses, we get a product. I remember saying to one of the commissioners, my business model was a wealthy couple, not necessarily a successful couple, that for some reason came out here and were enamored by the number of people that were here, the excitement, and the things were going on. We've lost that. We lost that. I'd like to blame it mainly on COVID, and the convenience of racing. But to me, that's for the gamblers. The way we get the new people out here to create some interest. I told you in I think it was 2010, this place was absolutely jammed on a special night. And we had several committees that were involved as far as new ownership and everything. On that night, I picked up 2 partners that I've had for 20 years. It's amazing, 15 years. The other way I picked up some new participants was we had some handicapping contests down at the OTB. That was an absolute smash hit. 4 or 5 guys from Eli Lilly came out, research scientists, obviously with the means to own a horse or be a partnerships. And they had a fantastic time. And the girls kicked their butt, handicapping horses. Well, they didn't take that well. They went and talked with the girls after it was over to find out more about the story, and what they had was the bridge, the transition that we were looking for. Well, this is how you get involved right here. You know, a lot of horsemen own partnerships in horses, a small percentage of a horse. If you want to get your feet wet, it's a business investment, and handed to the right people, you might be surprised. It's a little bit like a hedge fund. If you get the right one, it can be big time. So as horsemen, we don't understand totally how we're more and more by these meetings and by following Hoosier Park and downtown with Brian Elmore and those guys. We basically follow them and learn from them. But we've got the product. We're anxious to go. We think some of the entertainment things, we hate to see any of the marketing cut at all. That to us, we don't understand that. You got to get them out here. When we had the concerts, which I know this is tough for Caesars, run their business as well as anyone possibly could. And so it didn't take them 10 seconds to figure out things that made money and didn't make money. But as kind of dumb horsemen, we noticed when the concerts were here, a lot of finely dressed people came out to see ZZ Tops or some of those people. And they had money enough, and their wife had money enough to go to the casino where we get our most from. And we weren't jealous of that. That was just something that really worked well. They didn't turnstile or gate any. We weren't able to gather that information of how valuable that was to us. We think we lost something there. But we are smart enough to know that sometimes in other regards, as far as entertainment goes, if you get those people out here and they see the horse racing, it may or may not open up a door. And we think about 2 out of 10 times is it works. And so I would please beg Hoosier Park and the other racetracks, they look like they're doing pretty good. Please don't cut marketing. Let's get out there. And as John DeLong said, try to restore the roar. There was a lot of reasons why this place was filled on certain nights, and it wasn't all just to see a horse. And so And some people like to gamble and some people don't. I've never gambled $1. I've never been in that casino to bet $5. I came from a poor family. I don't gamble, but I love coming up here to see what's going on. If there's a concert, if there's good food, a good deal, family entertainment, all those things help draw the people in. And then we're looking for them to somehow to bridge over their interest into our sport, but certainly create a place for them to come to. And so my point is, please don't cut marketing. Please come up with some other ideas to get some people out here to the track. I know we're swimming upstream with these things, but there's got to be some ways. And so once again, I thank Hoosier Park and I thank everyone for what they've done for us to this point. And we're just hoping and praying we can get back up to where we were. But thank you. Questions?
Thanks, Ernie. John, Tony? Okay.
John DeLong, president of the ISA. I just want to say real short, 2 words that I took away from the whole presentation. And that was Rick Moore when he said, think different. And that is one thing going forward, this day and age with phones and ADW and how people wager on our races. That is one thing we have to think different. We cannot keep doing the same old thing over and over. Every year we need to pick up different things and add it to the program, add it to the entertainment part. That's something we really have to focus on going forward. So, Tony.
Thanks, John. Tony.
Tony Renz, Executive Director for the ISA. Start off on a positive. I do want to thank Joe Morris and Rick Moore and Caesars. We have the best backside, I think, of any track, not just standardbred. Our backside is the Taj Mahal. We have a safe racing course. Knock on wood, we'd had very few accidents this year, and the ones that we did have weren't catastrophic of any nature. So we do safe racing here. And at the end of the day, we're the voice for the horse. So that's very important to us. A couple things I take away from this. And I remember in the 2 operational plans, I went through them each thoroughly. I always wondered why at Horseshoe, that marketing, I want to say at marketing dollars, like 1.6 million. And why is there such a difference at Hoosier Park where it's only, I think, like 750,000? That was always a question I had. And the only other thing I wanted to touch on is staffing. I seen a couple really good nights here. The day after Thanksgiving, they had a band here. This place was jam-packed, and it was packed, and people were here watching horse racing because they got here early for the band to get a seat. I believe they had Flynnville train here. The next night, they gave away a Bronco. The casino was jam-packed. I think I spoke with Colin. It was 2,200 people. Both nights, there was not enough staffing here. And to me, one of the worst things you can do in a facility, I worked in casinos 27 years, is to get people to come in and not take care of them because they'll leave with a bad taste in their mouth. And I think that staffing since COVID has not come back, whether it's restaurant, EVS, mutual tellers, program cells, you name it. It's all front of the house staffing. It's not back of the house. Again, our back of the house, I feel, is top of the line. You can see there's a difference in that from 2019 or previous years. But I think what they did is they just learned how to work harder and smarter back there with fewer people. But on this side, it really shows out there. The lack of food options has taken its toll on the place. And I think that's one reason why people don't come back here is there's nothing here. And then when they do, the prices of the food and beverage are just too high. Our steakhouse here is priced at the same level as St. Hummel's. It's more than Ruth Chris. And that's all I want to leave with you. Again, we do appreciate what they do here. It's not easy. But we're always going to keep pushing for the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, Adam Calick, Sycamore Group. I represent the Standardbreds. Talking about the marketing, I just thought it would be important. It was mentioned at the last meeting, just about the importance of marketing this property. You've got the threat of, discussion of possible bills about moving something into the territory of this, what would be the marketplace of Hoosier Park. And I think that'd be detrimental to the horsemen. So I think keeping that on the forefront. But again, marketing a product here that people are going to want to come to and be aware of. Same thing when it comes to iGaming. That bill could be talked about as well. But and you talked earlier about the ADW versus people sitting at home betting on their phones on the horses. We've got to make sure that that we're on the top of that. So maybe I was just going to suggest maybe a working group between the commission and the track and the horsemen about if things like that progress down at the State House. We need to be thinking about how to keep the horse racing industry on the top in the forefront of that. So thank you.
Yeah, that casino movement, possible movement, could make a difference. That's for sure. Anybody else? Okay, I don't see anybody. Thank you all for participating. I guess we're ready for somebody to make a motion to approve the operational plan. It's for both tracks.
I would move for approval
So-
of the operational plan.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty. Aye. Commissioner Estes,
Aye.
Commissioner Levingood.
It passes. Okay, well, thank you for all the work and preparation of this, and I like the video too. That was good. Yeah, this is good, and and I guess the other thing, it would be good maybe to keep the marketing with each group rather than you've got the marketing at the end for both tracks. Might be good to keep the marketing because it's kind of hard to go back and forth with each track. Along with the community stuff and all that. But it's amazing. Okay, next is the ratification of Executive Director's interim approval of Lane Games Racing LLC as a secondary pari-mutuel organization for the remainder of 2024. Dale?
Chairman Borst, Commissioners, Lean Games Racing LLC, or Lean Games, was the latest company to apply for an Indiana SPMO license. Lean Games holds a service provider and account deposit wagering license issued by the state of North Dakota and the North Dakota Racing Commission. Lean Games was audited by the Thoroughbred Racing Protective Bureau as provided for in 71 IAC 9-2.2-3. Upon successful completion of the audit, Lean Games was issued an interim approval as an SPMO by Executive Director Pittman for live horse racing at offtrackbetting.com on November 7th, 2024 for the remainder of the year. At this time, Commission staff respectfully requests ratification of Executive Director Pittman's interim approval of Lean Games Racing as an SPMO for 2024.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
I move to approve.
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any commission questions? Seeing none, I guess we go to the roll call.
Chairman Borst.
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty. Commissioner Estes.
Aye.
Commissioner Levingood.
It passes unanimously also. So next is the review and consideration of license renewal applications for 2025 secondary pari-mutuel organizations for the following companies. And I guess we don't need to read through them all, but you can fill us in, Dale. It's the usual ones.
Yes, Chairman Borst, Commissioners, at last year's meeting on November 30th, you unanimously voted to approve the licenses of the SPMOs listed A and G for this agenda item. And the license term is for 1 year. With the recent addition of Lean Games, Commission staff received 8 SPMO license renewal applications for 2025. Commission staff has reviewed each of the renewal applications and determined that they were substantially compliant with the IHRC regulations. Additionally, staff has continued to contract with the Thoroughbred Racing Protective Bureau, or TRPB, to review daily wagering data provided by each of the SPMOs. TRPB allows the review of daily wagering data on a granular level closer than ever before. Staff has also been in contact with the Oregon Racing Commission, which has set itself up as the foremost authority in the ADW hub operations, including conducting audits and maintaining strict licensure requirements for SPMOs. Additionally, TRPB has not notified commission staff of any significant issues in wagering data from any of the applicants that would suggest unfitness for licensure. Chairman Borst, commissioners, in an effort to clarify the scope of each license renewal, commission staff drafted a proposed order for each SPMO requesting a license. The proposed orders cover the scope of the license and any conditions imposed. It should be noted that Premier Turf Club, or PTC, is not currently taking wagers in Indiana, but has requested a license renewal based on plans to start accepting wagers in Indiana during the 2025 licensing period. Therefore, PTC's proposed order contains a list of conditions PTC must meet before they can start accepting wagers in Indiana again. At this time, commission staff respectfully request the approval of the proposed orders, including permission for Executive Director Pittman to sign said orders for SPMO renewals for Churchill Downs, doing business as Twin Spires, TVG, FanDuel Racing, AmWest Entertainment, Express Bet, Premier Turf Club, the New York Horse Racing Association, doing business as Naira Bets, Penn ADW LLC, doing business as Hollywood Races, and Lean Games Racing. The renewal term is for January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Commission staff also requests that the approval of the renewal applications containing the additional condition of the SPMO's continuing willingness to cooperate and provide information to the commission and commission staff as required.
That's a mouthful there, but the legalities we got to do. How about a motion and a second?
I move to approve the renewal of these applications, the 8 submitted, with their respective conditions, if any, to move to approve all 8 of them.
I second.
Good. Been moved and seconded. Any questions? I guess we go to the roll call vote.
Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes,
Aye.
Commissioner Levengood.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Next is the status update regarding the 2025 Breed Development Committee programs. Jessica is on her way down. Two of them I think we can vote on today, and 2 of them I think we're going to have to wait till the next meeting.
Good afternoon. You have in your packet, the first item is the Indiana Standardbred Breed Development Program for 2025. The program pretty much mirrors this past year's program, with the exception we came to the commission mid-year and we actually put some additional money into overnights, and we're not doing that at this point in time. We kind of reserve the right that if revenues come in higher than projected, we may come back and bring an amendment to you later in the year, but we felt pretty comfortable kind of sticking with the program that we originally had for 2024. So it's pretty much the same. This was put together after multiple meetings with the ISA, Hoosier Park Management, and the Standardbred Breed Development Advisory Committee and Standardbred Advisory Board. So,
Jessica, as you mentioned, if the revenues are better,
Mhm.
midterm, you can ask for more. What happens if the revenues tank? And do you have the same ability to readjust midterm?
We are very fortunate with the Standardbred Breed Development Program that we have quite a bit of money in reserves. So we've got money saved up. If we do tank, we'll be able to get through this year, and then we adjust the program for the following year.
Thank you.
Mhm. So I don't know if we need probably to take these separately, I think, because they're different breeds, but I would respectfully request the commission's approval for the 2025 Indiana Standardbred Breed Development Program.
Do we have a motion and a second?
You do a great job, Bill. Go ahead.
I move for approval of the proposed standard redevelopment program.
Okay,
And I
thank you.
second.
Thank you. Any questions for Jessica on all the numbers? It did look fairly similar to last year. Seeing none, I guess we go to roll call.
Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes,
Aye.
Commissioner Levengood.
Aye.
Okay, it passes unanimously. Now we'll go to consideration approval of the 2025 Quarter Horse Breed Development Program.
Okay. This, you have in front of you the Indiana Quarter Horse Breed Development Program for 2025. Again, the Quarter Horse Breed Development Advisory Committee hosted meetings with racetrack management and members of the QHRAI. Sorry, I got that acronym wrong. And this program is very similar to last year's. We're pretty happy with the program. We've made some minor tweaks. There is a change in there for the distance of the mixed Roxy Little was approved last year to be implemented for 2025. And then we've made some fee schedule adjustments, which we think those increased nominations is actually going to boost the quality of that race and make it more of a significant race worldwide for quarter horses. So this program is also very similar to the question that Gus asked me, that we do have reserves. So we're pretty confident in what we're putting forward and that we can sustain this program for this year should something catastrophic happen. So I would respectfully ask for approval of the Quarter Horse Breed Development Program for 2025, or be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have a motion and a second?
I move for approval.
I move to accept.
Go ahead, Bill.
Bill
I
and
move
Bill.
I move for approval. That's fine.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by the Bills. Any questions for Jessica? Seeing none, we'll go to the roll call.
Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes,
Aye.
Commissioner Levengood.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. And you're going to give us the status of the
Yes.
the Thoroughbred and
So
Standardbred Advisory.
we have the Thoroughbred Breed Development Advisory Committee Program. We had a meeting yesterday, and our next meeting is scheduled for January 7th. I'm confident that we will have a proposal completed at that January 7th meeting. We were just, we've got to work with the racetrack on a few numbers for it. We also, for the Standardbred Advisory Board, which mainly deals with the county fair program, our annual meeting at the Indiana Association of District Fairs, Festivals, Convention is January 4th. And that is always January 4th. So that's when we set the schedule. So we don't know the schedule for the fairs until after that meeting. So I should have that proposal shortly after that meeting as well. So I would like to do as I have in the past and ask the commission to delegate to the executive director the ability to approve both of those programs once we have them completed, so that once approved, the race office can move forward with the condition book for the thoroughbreds. And then also we can move forward with our Standardbred nomination book for the Standardbred program.
I think we'll do that at the end with all the rest of them, right? Or should we do this one separate? The delegation on 13 on, okay, we'll
Okay.
put it in there at the end.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, as
you.
always, is putting all the puzzles together.
Thank you so much.
Next is the update on the racetrack winter training for Rick and Eric, who Eric gets to go first.
Eric Hallstrom with Horseshoe Indianapolis. So just real quickly here, I think we're starting to get pretty good at this wintertime training stuff, but a couple things to note, and then I'll take any questions you might have. But I think when the wintertime training was initially put in, I think that the number of 250 horses was thrown in there. It might even be in the order. To show you how it's gone very well, and it's been very good for our horsemen, and it's been really good for the racetrack too when the season starts and everybody's ready to go. We had requests this year for over 900 stalls in the winter, and frankly, we don't have room for that. These barns need to be winterized, and we've got to, make sure pipes aren't freezing in some of the summer barns and all that. But Chris did a lot, over 600 stalls. We've winterized more barns than we had when we first started. So, we're getting to the point now where we're just a full-fledged training center, and it's beneficial to everybody. Tony Martinez, our track superintendent, really gets it. He understands the surface. He starts to change it over after the end of the meet to make sure that it'll make it through the winter and some of the freezing. You'll see this time of year when it rains, that racetrack doesn't dry for days. It's just nothing dries at this time of year. But Tony understands it and does a really good job. And having 900 stall applications tells you the horsemen trust the surface. So I feel really good about that. We've kept our normal staff. Dr. Andy Hershey we've now a year-round full-time employee, so he's there 5 days a week for training. Our security manager, Tim DeWitt, who goes far outside his job description, and his staff are instrumental back there. And, we're just in good shape. We've got a really good outrider, John Neal, and Ray Kulik, our starter, is there for horses that need to go to the gate. So things have started off really well, and I know there's a bunch of horses shipping to Turfway. It's been a steady trip down to Cincinnati area since our meet ended. So in good shape for the winter, I think.
What's your total capacity? You said you got 6, you had 9. What's your total?
So when we're at our busiest in the summer, it's about 1,100 horses.
So can I start talking business from here? This is, it's supply and demand. Are you underpriced, or why are you got 9 and only 6?
So not all those barns are winterized. There's several of them that we have to, clear the pipes and make sure they don't freeze and all that.
I don't want to get in your business, but if there's 300 stalls you got left and could you charge more to get you know where I'm heading. The question is somewhere there's.
Yeah, I understand the question, but being known about, we don't charge anything. So the 600 stalls is kind of our max at this point, and we had 900 requests.
All right.
So
thanks.
Any other questions? Bill?
Is there a mix of out-of-state and in-state participants in the program?
Commissioner McCarty, it's a really good question. We only house Indiana and our locals here, and you had to start a certain amount of horses in order to get a stall. And at this time, it's basically our own.
How do you do the cut? I mean, is it first come, first serve?
It's an interesting puzzle and a really good question, because of those 900 stalls, Chris Polson will have to go through them and have to decide, with the space that he has, how many each trainer can get. And
Can you incentivize people that come to your tracks more often, get first?
Yep.
I'm in your business.
no, I'm gonna let you finish the question, but yes, we do that. And people know that participation during the meet will get them favors in the winter.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move to Hoosier Park.
Rick Moore, Harris Hoosier Park. We're well into our way with our winter training. We closed the track right after the meet closed. I want to thank the horsemen for their cooperation there. But we closed the track for a week, and it really allowed us to do a lot of maintenance to the track. We got thousands of tons of old material off the track. We were able to, get some grading done, get our, the right percentage of grades in the turns and in the stretches. So we got a lot of that work done. Kind of responding to the questions that Eric just answered, here we have a mixture. Majority are Indiana horses, Indiana trainers, okay? But if you were with us through the year, you were eligible to apply for winter training and have stalls. We allocated 263 stalls for wintertime training. At our height during the summertime, we accommodate 600 horses. So about half of our full occupancy we have for wintertime training. We have 5 barns that are set aside for the wintertime training, and we try to make it where it's very convenient. So we put the horses, and we have some very big stables, the stable back there with us, and we try to keep them during year round in the same barn, so we don't have to relocate too many people. But we do have 263 out of 300 stalls that were allocated. A couple of changes from what I originally sent to Executive Director Pittman in my letter. I said we would allow soon-to-be 2-year-olds to come in on January 1st. We've actually backed that up a little bit. We're going to let folks bring their soon-to-be 2-year-olds in the weekend after Christmas, if they so desire. So come, December 27th, we'll more than happy to see some bright new equine faces in our barn area. And then we had said that we would have training hours from 8 to noon. Well, we had a couple of horsemen ask us, could you push that back to 7 a.m.? We said, absolutely, we can. So now our hours for wintertime training are from 7 a.m. to noon. So, just a couple changes from what I originally sent to Dina. And then if you want to ship in, you're welcome to ship in. If you're from an outside training facility, if you want to ship in and train, you're welcome to do that too. You just have to be licensed by the Indiana Horse Racing Commission and have the necessary health papers. We will open up our barn air for the general population. That sounds like a prison, doesn't it? General population. Anyway, for the horses that are allocated horses for the 2025 meet, we're going to open the track on February 21st. So anyone who is given stalls for 2025 can come in on February 21st. And then our first day of qualifiers will be on March 1st. It sounds like it's far off, but it's not far off. It's right around the corner. So, wintertime training continues to do really well. I want to thank our track maintenance crew for all the work they do to keep the track in really good shape. There's been, when the weather got down there below freezing and got pretty cold there, 17, 18 degrees, they were working this track all night long so that it'd be ready for horses in the morning. So I want to give Cooper Keeler, track superintendent Cooper Keeler, and his team a big shout out for what they do. And our backside maintenance folks, there's too many of them to thank, but they that last couple of days of racing, when it got really, really cold and we had some pipes that didn't want to cooperate, they worked really, really hard to get those stalled out so that we could race those last couple of nights. Just an aside, but I do want to thank folks who make things happen and make things work here. I'd be glad to answer any questions about wintertime training.
Any questions? I guess 263, but you can take 300 out of the 600 stalls?
That's typically what, the 263 is the most we've ever allocated. Last year we were at about 180. We had room for more, but that's all the horses that we had here. There was so many differences, and Joe made the point. They're horses, but it's two completely different industries. There's so many training centers, standardbred training centers here in the immediate area, and thank goodness we have them because we really need them. But it's different with the standardbred industry than it is the thoroughbred industry, with all the different training centers around here.
But you don't have anybody knocking at your door to get in.
Yeah, we
263 is all that's asked.
The only qualification that we have is you stable with us during the racing season. If you do that, you're welcome to stay year round.
But you haven't had to turn anybody away yet?
No, sir, we have not.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on training, winter training? I guess not.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thanks. Guess we'll move to the capital fund update. Joe Morris, I guess, is going to give that.
Good afternoon, Joe Morris, Caesars Entertainment Racing. Just a quick update. Here at Hoosier, the only project we have coming in approved so far for next year is our video board. This year, we replaced the middle screen, and now we want to replace the two wings. So that is scheduled, weekly calls on that, and that'll be ready for our March 15th opening. That's
Joe,
all
who's-
we
who's the
have here.
manufacturer?
We'll have more RCFAC meetings and maybe have something for March, but that's all we have.
Have you selected, is the manufacturer the same as the main board or different?
It's, yeah, Fometco is the name of the company and International Sound is the vendor. We've brought them through and they do business at most all our tracks. So then you go down to Horseshoe. First we have, we've been talking about winterizing barns. The first ones we winterized were barns 1 through 4. And we winterized them and we do not have adequate ventilation in them. Did at the time, that was 4 years ago. And now as we've built a new barn, 105 stalls, and we've put exhaust fans and we've put the big ass fans in. And as we've re-winterized our quarter horse barn and we did a different style of ventilation there, horsemen talk and they're saying, wow, the ventilation's better in those other barns than this one. So we want to ventilate it properly. As I say with horses, good ventilation and fresh water, they have to have it. So we first looked at having a draw system on one side and a blow system on the other and take it across, but there's, I think, 6 bays in each of those barns. So, and the RCFAC voted to do that. That was going to be around 200,000. Since then, just in the last week, we've got another school of thought that we want to investigate with a big ass fan in each of the bays and improved cupola system to where we could get the air to be able to go up through better. And the horsemen right now like that idea better, and we're working that bid. We're confident it's going to come in less than the 200, but I need to get the paperwork done. So I'll probably be back at the March meeting. But we'd like to get that in, but certainly before it gets too hot in the summer. But we want to get a system that one works the most efficient and one the horsemen are comfortable with.
I know what a big ass fan is but some others may not. So you might want to explain that quickly.
I can explain it because we brought when I was with Breeders' Cup and NTRA, Big Ass Fan became an industry partner to the thoroughbred world, and they're part of that group purchasing program, now known as NTRA Advantage, NTRA Purchasing when I did it. They're Lexington, Kentucky, and they make fans the size of big helicopter blades. They're at the Lexington airport. I probably put 10 or 12 of them at Santa Anita. They can just about lift a building if you get all 6 of them going at the same time. But they're known for our industry. They're committed to horse racing, building a new paddock at Scioto right now. It's got big ass fans in it. It's just, from what I've found, as far as a company that supports racing and a company that has a good product, they're a best in class in that area. So we'd like to come back with better pricing, get it to March approval, but I need to get those in before summer, before it gets too hot, so we can get that air moving. And it as I said, we had a price of 200,000 for the first way we were looking at it. We're pretty sure it's going to come in less than that on the second way we look at it.
And what's the
So
name of the company?
Big ass fans.
They're a high torque, low RPM fan.
Yeah.
For spaces. You'll see for those the CIB installed them. You'll see them in Conseco in the entrance area and also in Lucas Oil Stadium. They're all around.
A lot of racetracks using them now, also in barn areas, and we have them in the barns at Horseshoe now.
They were first installed in cattle barns, and they knew they hit a success because I've seen the video where they installed one fan, got it working, one fan at one end, and all the cows moved all to that end and were underneath the fan. They still have that original video of that installation.
And manufactured in Lexington, Kentucky. right up the road from where I live. So that's that. So I'll be back for that. And then in March, whatever else we vote, we'll bring to the board. The other projects are done. Quick update on the community center. The property has been annexed. That's done. We're through. We had 2 or 3 meetings on that. The design releases, as my builder says, is downtown, which means the state has the design release. We expect that back the first week of January. We've had no issues brought to our attention. We do have a variance we need to fulfill, and the variance is we need to bring that property up a foot. So it's just down below road level a little bit. So we need to bring the level of the property to start this project up a foot. City's in favor of it. Permits are in. We're told those permits will be cleared by the end of January. We still have the one bid we had that was a little over 2 million. Little challenge getting people to bid on it. But, I've had Caesars, D&C go, and it's just a small project. And we've had the bigger companies look. So what we did, I did have Caesars, D&C, Design and Construction, really take a fine-tooth comb out and review the bids we have. They're very comfortable with them. So whether I can get one of those companies to bid or not, we'd sent the packets out. They're just, it's a smaller project. It's
Think about splitting it up and perform the CM job?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're comfortable with it. We expect, and we will do a formal groundbreaking. We expect that to be the first week of February, just with Christmas in and getting it's just that time of year. So it's all on go. It's progressing along nicely, and we're happy with where it's at. That's all I have for this meeting.
Any questions on the capital fund?
I've got a real quick question.
Okay.
When you look at what's remaining after 2025, up in Anderson, you're at $800,000 a year average that you have left over for those last 5 years. When you look at Horseshoe, you have $267,000 a year. Can you make it on $267,000 a year for 5 years?
We and consciously, we really front-loaded those projects. When we sat down at the time, it was me and Eric and Joe Davis and Brian and Paul Martin. At the time, Chris Duke's got that chair now. We thought the most important thing was more stalls. And we built 105. I call it controlling your own destiny. I like another 100 stalls. There's not room nor funds for that. But that helped that. And then what makes all this industry happen is those grooms and hot walkers at that level in our industry, and we didn't have enough dorms for them. So we built another 50 dorms, put the Euro sizer in, but we knew we're right where we expected to be, and we knew we wanted to front load it to help control our destiny with number of runners and having the right number of horses here. And as you saw from the results and the 5 years results, that was the right thing to do, we still believe. Up here, we took a different path, and we have more to spend anyhow. And remember, at the end of the 5 years, though, that fund refulfills itself. So there's another 25 million. We think you never know emergency, but short of emergency, we've got what we need to get out through, and a conscious decision that left us there, and the results are backing that decision.
But I have a question, Commissioner. But isn't that a minimum that you're required to spend? And if you choose as a private entity, you could spend more.
We do. There's certain areas that do not go through that fund that we
So
spend on.
if you make a choice and you see a return on investment as a private company, this was a minimum that you had to commit to, correct?
Correct. And then don't forget, we have the rolling capital equipment also that keeps the tractors and, everything else out there.
Okay. I guess we'll move to the rulemaking update. David, can you tell us where we're at?
Sure. It'll be very short and sweet. We turned in the last round of rules that we're looking to get promulgated. That was in your last commission packet. They're not in this commission packet. We turned those in to OMB on October 16th. Since then, we've been told, and we need their okay to proceed with the process.
Since then, we've been told that we will have to wait till the new administration comes in before we can get approval from them. We did want to get these rules approved before the meets start. My hope is that we don't start from scratch again with their evaluation process because that could be like an additional 3 or 4 months then before we can even start. So that's kind of where we are, stuck in limbo, waiting for the new administration to step in.
Okay, then we move to the HISA update.
That would be Dina.
More stuff in limbo.
Yes. So there hasn't been much activity for Indiana and HISA with the thoroughbred meet having come to an end. You already saw the reports at the beginning of the meeting through HISA as far as rule violations. I would say the biggest news right now, and I think that Joe might have referenced it. No, I'm sorry. I think it was Eric that referenced it, is the new fee schedule for 2025. And that fee has increased, I believe for 2025, it's around 600,000, right? Yeah. So that's a pretty hefty fee. And that doesn't include, any credits that we receive back. We haven't gotten any true up back from HISA. When I was in Arizona, I wanted to sit down and talk with the HISA folks about such a large increase in the fees. And they indicated that I needed to call Mr. Gates. So I have a call through to him, and we'll see what I can get out of him. But the best that we can figure out is that fee increase probably reflects, I think, West Virginia and Louisiana's 30,000 starts that haven't been assessed any fee because they're not participating in the HISA program. So it's being spread out amongst everyone else, in addition to HISA adding additional employees and additional IT expenses. So it's a pretty hard hit to the budget and a hard hit to the purse account.
Does HISA have within that budget their legal fees?
I don't know that I saw a legal. I don't think I saw legal fee. Did we see that?
Yeah.
Is it in there?
Yeah, because you're paying for their.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their
yes.
argument with the other states.
And we had 2 other entities that filed legal
So
action.
Legal fees are in.
Right.
Payroll expenses went up 15%. Part of that was, and I did talk to Gates, so
Did you?
yeah,
Okay.
that little bit ahead. But they hired a lot of people during the year that'll have a full year effect next year. So that's a 15%. You have NYRA and Churchill that are paying on the per start model. So the interesting thing here is they had sent out a per start model. So now it's based on handle and purses paid, and that's where we fit. So the per start model now is just straight number of starters each track has. So a $5,000 claimer at Horseshoe would pay the same per start as the winner of the Kentucky Derby. It would be just the same. Well, that's going to hit tracks like us because we have a lot of starts. But so Eric did the math, and our bill looked like it would go up 600,000 for 26. So he said, well, we got to fight that through. And then we get our assessment for 25. It went up 600,000. And that's not the per start model. That's the other model. Now, Churchill and NYRA are paying off the per start, and they're saying it's unconstitutional, unfair that they're paying per purses, so they've underpaid. Ohio has a will not sue provision where they're not paying, they are escrowing, but they're not getting that money. And then West Virginia and Louisiana don't have to pay. Texas isn't participating. Nebraska is not participating. Wyoming. So with all of that increased expense, reduced amount of revenue coming in, those who try to do right are having to pay more. So that's a tough situation for a track like ours. And as I always say, the way we run a track and done it for a long, we're 95% HISA compliant day one, and we're paying 3 million now for the other 5%. So it's just not a good situation. The Supreme Court, they think, will take it up in April. So we're still waiting to hear on that, and it's still rattling around the Fifth and Sixth Circuit appeals courts. But the next thing everybody's looking at is the Supreme Court to take it up. And then, who knows what happens with the new presidential regime and the FTC and all. I mean, so it's the question mark only got bigger, as did the bill. They do have a line item in there of a little over 20 million for true up. So I got my hopes up there, and then Bill Gates kind of ended those hopes. So I'm hoping to get something back on that. But with all the other unknowns and jurisdictions that are reacting differently, I don't see them sending a lot of that back. So I think we're stuck with it.
Well, as Ronald Reagan said, the words you don't want to hear, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. This is a good example right here. We just make the best of it and let's see what happens. 13 is the delegation of authority to conduct racing business to the executive director. The usual reading at the end of the year.
Thank you. Chairman Boris, commissioners, each year there are matters that arise that require quick turnaround and quick decision-making. Because the commission may not meet often enough for these immediate matters to be handled, commission staff routinely request that the commission delegate authority to Executive Director Pittman to handle the matters that arise between commission meetings. Pursuant to 71 IAC 2-2-1, the commission may delegate authority to the Executive Director to implement and execute the duty of regulating each race meeting and persons participating in each meeting. At this time, commission staff respectfully requests delegation of authority to Director Pittman to make decisions as required, including but not limited to equipment, race calendars, breed development, and SPMOs that cannot be delayed until the next commission meeting.
I think that covers everything. Any motion or second to approve the delegation?
I move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Chairman Boris,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes,
Aye.
Commissioner Levengood. Aye.
It passes unanimously also. Do we have any old business? I think we have some new business.
We do have some new business, and these are items that didn't get in on time to make the agenda. The first item, I think, we're going to have Eric come up and speak on a maintenance capital sub.
Yeah, thank Eric Hallstrom with Horseshoe Indianapolis, and thanks for putting this on in new business here. Generally, we bring our substitute capital in March, just by the way our team works on stuff, but there's a couple things that we'd like to have you consider today to have them ready for an April 15th opening day of our season. This was an odd year because we were scheduled to buy 6 tractors at about 150 apiece, and if you might remember, 2 years ago we bought 4. And so we do need to buy a couple extra. That's going to help out. Should be complete there, but we don't need 6. And so it leaves a lot of substitute capital. But there's 2 items on here that I mentioned that we'd like to, really most important to us. The first one is a tractor for our turf course that will be specifically used for our turf course, and it tends to spread the weight. It doesn't dig into the course like it does. It distributes the weight, and it's not as heavy on top. Michael or Tony, our track superintendent's been asking for a couple of years, and they believe it'll help a lot. It's about $60,000. But the one that's really most important, and we don't have an issue yet, but it's the most important piece of equipment that we have at a thoroughbred and quarter horse racetrack, and that's our starting gate. And we run 1,200 races. We train year round. We don't have an issue with the current one yet. but this is not the kind of equipment that you want to get caught with and trying to catch up. And our current gate is about 10 years old. And as a general rule, we're starting to see the reasons why we'd want to move on and get this thing built new and come back with a brand new starting gate, get another 10 to 12 years, before we have to come back for a request. But I've included all the proposals. The company for the starting gate, True Center, is the one we use currently. I've met with them in Arizona. They're ready to go. They got about a 90-day timeline. They could have us one here. This is a refurbished gate. If we want a new one, the expense is obviously higher, but they can't get that back to us in about 9 months, and doesn't do us a whole lot of good for next season. So we're very comfortable. We're close with Ray Kuick, our starter, who knows them very well, and feel like it's probably time. And we've got without the tractor purchases, we've got a little bit of room there.
What do you do with the old one? Do they take it on trade and they refurbish it?
Yeah, so we actually have 2 gates. We've got the main one and we've got a backup, and they'll be working on the backup. The current one we have will become the backup, and that's how you keep flowing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question?
What is the projected lifespan of this refurbished when it's required?
Yes, sir, Commissioner McCarty, about 12 years. The current one that we've got is in its 10th, just finished its 10th year, and we'll get through. It'll be a good backup gate for us but there's the worst thing you can have at a thoroughbred and corridors track is to have a problem with your starting gate middle of season or something like that.
So the backup one, do you use that for your training and or do you duty cycle them where, you use one week and the next, how do you do that? Just curious.
Sure. No, good question. And the answer is about 99% of our starts during the meet come from the main gate. The backup is truly a backup. He'll use it during training just to make sure that the springs are still working and it's functional and all that. But you don't want to get to the backup.
But it's ready to go.
It is ready.
So then go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions on tractors and gates? Seeing none, I guess we'll accept a motion in a second.
So moved. That's my stuff.
He's so moved. He's very moved. Do we have a second? Moved.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. I guess we'll go to the roll call vote.
Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty,
Aye.
Commissioner Estes,
He may had to leave. Is it past 1:30? Yeah, he probably had to leave. Yep, he's got a quorum.
Commissioner Levengood.
Aye. It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Any other new business?
We do have one more issue that.
Okay.
Or actually 2 more issues, but one that Dale's going to bring up right now.
So this is an update to the Indiana Horsemen's Benevolent and Protective Association 2025 Benevolence Assistance Rules and Guidelines. So you approved the IHBPA's 2025 Horsemen's Association application at the October 24th, 2024 meeting. However, since that time, the IHBPA board has approved the 2025 Benevolence Assistance Rules and Guidelines with 3 revisions. The first, the board improved increasing the cap in benevolence from $7,500 to $8,500 per year. Second, the board has approved raising the annual income caps for benevolence benefits from $50,000 for single people and $100,000 for married couples to $75,000 for single people and $125,000 for married couples. Both of these changes are due to inflation. And the third change is to condition eligibility for benefits on the applicant being licensed by the commission for 60 days or only 30 days if they were licensed by the commission in the prior year. So commission staff respectfully request approval of IHBPA's 2025 application update consisting of its 2025 Benevolence Assistance Rules and Guidelines.
Okay, everybody understand that? Makes some sense. How about motion?
I move to approve the proposal.
I will second it. I second it.
He's back. Yay. It's been moved and seconded, then we'll, if no,
Sorry.
no, that's good. This is the last vote. Any questions? I thought you were going to say the biggest problem we have is that red hat sitting at the table there. Boy, I tell you, that's hard to take. We'll go to the roll call.
Okay. So in honor of Matt, I'm going to do the roll call his way with everyone present first and then those on the phone. Chairman Borst,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarty.
Aye.
Commissioner Levengood.
Aye.
Commissioner Estes.
Aye.
Yay. It passes unanimously. I think that,
And then the only other new business, as you've already pointed out, is I hope everybody on
oh geez.
Friday is going to be watching.
There may be some Notre Dame people here, though.
Well,
You may be offending.
That's not important.
Oh,
but
okay. You may be offending them. I don't.
Chairman Borst, I'm hoping that you support IU and you'll be sporting IU gear on Friday night.
Am I under oath? Okay, well, thank you again to Rick and everybody here at Horseshoe. This is so nice set up, and thank everybody for coming. The Horsemen working well with the commission and the commission staff and the tracks. We got to keep it going. And just anybody has suggestions, thinking out of the box, keep doing it. Do we have a motion to, oh, and everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year too. And a happy holiday. I think we're just adjourned. We don't need a motion, do we? No, we're adjourned. Thank you.